Hello again, YouTube. It is time for my Tennessee vacation. It is Saturday, October, what is it, the 14th? Yeah, the 14th. And I'm on my way down there to spend a few days in Tennessee, renting a cabin and such. But right now I'm in southern Indiana. We've got 2 stops to make. You'll already be able to tell by the title of the video what they are, but I'm standing in front of one, and man, is it a beautiful sight. This is the Tulip Trestle. Greene County, Indiana, maybe 35-40 minutes outside of Bloomington. This was constructed in 1905 and completed in 1906. And let me tell you what, even though it's all rusted and it still looks simply amazing. That's cool to think that over 100 years ago people were out here building this, and it looks like there's some trails down there. We might be able to walk down and get a close-up. I did buy a drone, but I'm not very good at flying it yet, and it's a little, doesn't seem like it right now, but it's a little windy and been a little bit rainy all day. However, I'm glad it's cleared up for the moment. Take a look at this. What a positively stunning sight, dude. Just the feat of engineering that would have gone into making something like that back in the early 1900s. There's a sign over here that lays out some of the history, which I'm sure you can, of course, look up for yourself. But this bridge, yeah, like I said, started in 1905, and the laborers were paid 13 cents per hour. Horse teams were hired at the rate of $3.50 a day, and drivers' handlers were paid $1.50 a day. These were considered above average wages for the time. However, demand was there was such great demand that the supply became quite low. The original cost of this bridge was $246,504. That cost today, which who knows how dated this information would be, is over $20 million. Bridge is 2,295 feet long, so a little under a half mile, 157 feet high over the floor of Richland Creek in the valley below. And I'll let you read the rest of that. Some really cool old pictures here you can't really see because of the glare, but yeah, this is cool. Looks like there's some wildflowers and stuff down there. It's quiet here. A group just left. I was waiting for them to leave before I started recording. We're gonna take a walk down here and check this out real quick. I gotta make sure I don't spend too much time here, for the simple fact that the place I want to go next, I don't want to be there after dark, and it's already getting late. I've spent most of my day driving. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick walk down here, and when you're on the ground looking up at it, truly do only barely start to get a understanding of just how massive this structure is. I think it is still considered the longest and tallest bridge in the state of Indiana, and I think at one point, like just for a very brief time, I think it was considered like maybe the tallest and the longest railroad bridge in the world, but you can obviously fact check that. I'm not 100% certain. I'm not even 50% certain of that fact. But either way, very cool piece of history right here. Well, unfortunately, I don't really see any trails to get in up closer. Yeah, the creek is right here, so I really couldn't get across this, but there is a road down that way. We'll drive down, and we'll take a look at it from down directly underneath from that road. But it's so peaceful and quiet out here. Right. You can also see the leaves are starting to turn here in Indiana. Not quite at peak fall colors yet, but another couple weeks and we'll be there. This looks like a tiny little groove to get down in there, but I'm not going to attempt it. I don't have waders on, unfortunately. Otherwise I would. That's something else I need to invest in, is a good pair of waders, probably, so I can get through water. Right. I'm parked just up there. So I'll see you back at the truck. And we're gonna take a quick ride down this road. There's the trestle right off to my left. I've seen some pathetic attempts at graffiti right here. Looks like I might be able to pull off right in here, so we're gonna do that real quick. And here we are, parked right next to it. This is something else, man. Look at the size of these concrete platforms. And there's a look at the truck for scale. You can just see how tall this thing really is. And yes, I think it is still used a few times a week. I think trains come across it coming from Indy and then going back like the next day, but again, fact check me on that because I really don't know for sure. But man, this is, to think this was engineered and built in 1905 and 1906. That's some thick metal. Surface rust, but it still looks like it's very, very well maintained and structurally sound. You can see just how steep the incline is there. And no, I'm not even going to attempt to climb that. There's some people I've read on comments of other videos that walk across this at night, but yeah. I'm not gonna be one of those idiots. Slip and fall to my death or some shit. Or even worse, have a train. There's a rope there though. Hope nothing bad happened with that. I would imagine if people were suicidal, they could, yeah, well, I'm not gonna finish that thought. I'm sure it's already in a lot of people's minds anyway. But yeah, there's a good worm's eye view of this massive thing. If only my drone flying skills were better, I'd attempt to launch it and capture some footage, but my luck, I'd just crash it into something and break. So maybe some other time. All right.
So, unfortunately, after that clip you just saw at the bridge, I had an issue with my GoPro where all of the files after that were corrupted. And I ended up, long story short, having to download some recovery software to recover the files. But now the audio is really jumbled up. It's like twice as long as the video clip, so I'm recording this audio after the fact. The video is going to be of lesser quality as well, but I still want to put it out there just to actually prove that I visited the big tunnel in southern Indiana. So this clip that I'm about to press play on, this is, right, oops, let me go ahead and mute that audio. So this clip is just showing the road approaching to Tunnelton, the unincorporated township from the north. And it's pretty much just your, standard 2-lane country road. I was just showing this portions of the drive, just so anybody who comes to visit this might have an idea of what they're going to be getting into. Obviously, there's, depending on which direction you're approaching from, there's a few different routes you could take to get here. And this is just one of them, but maybe it'll give you something of an idea of what it looks like. This next clip is actually in the unincorporated township of Tunnelton, and I keep saying that because that's what it's called on the map. So, get my mouse out of the way. This is right in the neighborhood. You'll see the railroad tracks coming up here where the tunnel is in just a couple of minutes. Again, this is approaching from the north. And just down this slight hill here is where the railroad tracks will be. And if you're approaching from this direction the tunnel will be to your left. If I remember correctly, you can only take a left turn once you get to the railroad tracks, but I'm not 100% for sure of that. And here comes the tracks now. I remember driving through this area and being, yeah, you can only take a left turn. Okay. Driving through this area and being just a little bit concerned. It's definitely out in the country. It's relatively isolated, so my suggestion to anybody going out here is that you go in a group, or if you're by yourself like I was, you have some form of protection, which I did. This turn here is a little bit scary. It's a blind turn. You can really only fit one vehicle through there at a time. Just have to take your time on a lot of these roads here. You can see it's very pretty scenery though. So this next clip is driving down the gravel road towards the tunnel. We might go ahead and skip ahead a little bit here. There's a river off to the side. Yeah, and you can see what I mean by some of the video quality too. It's unfortunate that had to get corrupted. And the tunnel is pretty much right up there. So just for a real quick reference, here you can see where Tunnelton is on a map of Indiana. You've got Bloomington up this way. The Tulip Trestle is somewhere out here in this general area. I can't quite remember. And then the tunnel is right down here. So here's the small Tunnelton Township. And you can see up in the left corner is a picture of the tunnel, which I'll show momentarily. I came down from this road here, I believe, followed that along, came down through here, went this way, and followed the tracks along. So this is that gravel road that we were on in the last clip. And let's switch over to satellite real quick. There's the river and the tunnel itself. There's a little parking area somewhere along in here. This might be it right here. Best place to park I found, because I drove this whole loop. You can climb up a little bit of an incline here, and it brings you right to the tunnel. So the tunnel follows all the way under here, and comes out right back over here again. So just in case you're ever actually curious about visiting this location, hopefully that helps you find it. So here's the clip actually leading up to the tunnel. There's my truck parked in that little parking area I showed on the map. Here's me climbing up the ridge. And real quick, just some background about the tunnel. This was actually built pre-Civil War. So it was, I believe construction began in 1857, and it was finished maybe 1858 or 1859. And yeah, you can see the video is very janky there. I apologize again for that. It really irritated me that this got corrupted, but interestingly, there's also some lore about the place that suggests that the tunnel's haunted. There were a couple of stories, and you can read these for yourself online. But there's one story that during construction, a worker was decapitated, and now he wanders through the tunnel with a lantern in one hand and his cut-off head in the other. And then, additionally, there were some stories about how the tunnel was built through the area where there used to be a cemetery, and like caskets and bodies fell through as they were digging it. There's no way to obviously really verify if any of that's true, but I just thought it was interesting that, I show up here, record this footage, and then everything leading to this tunnel gets ruined. So, I don't know, coincidence probably, but who knows for sure. Maybe there really are some kind of spirits living around there. But as for the tunnel itself, you can see it's visited quite often by the amount of graffiti, the beer cans, and just litter surrounding it. It's a very cool sight to see, though. Indiana, I think, only has 2 or 3 train tunnels, so I had to make time to stop at this on my way down to Tennessee for sure, and it was something else entirely to be there. Here's the next clip I'll show, which is me walking into the tunnel a little bit. Give you another close-up of the graffiti, and I remember thinking just how insanely dark it was in there, and as well as the echo. Those were two things that really stood out to me. And the tunnel is also very wide, so if you did happen to be in there while the train is passing through, yes, this is active. I believe a train passes through once a day during the week. I visited on a Saturday, so I didn't have to worry about that, but yeah, there's plenty of space for you to hide out. I did have like earplugs and a mask with me just in case of a train approaching. Anyways, though, because I'm sure it would be quite loud in there, and the fumes from the train is something you'd have to be worried about, getting trapped in a confined space, inhaling that, and potentially suffocating. But I did venture a little farther into that, but since you really can't see much, I'm probably just going to cut that clip from this video, unfortunately. Hopefully someday I can get back here and actually get a good video, maybe with a better flashlight and all of that, and hopefully with some friends, so I just don't feel as creeped out by the whole place. So this last clip here was me just trying to decipher the text on the rails. I don't even remember what it said now. If anybody can make that out and tell me if there's any meaning to it, I was just curious about that. Like if that indicates when the rail was constructed or laid here, because it looks to be in fairly good shape, like pretty well maintained and all that. So I was just curious. So here was one last look at the tunnel. This was just me getting ready to end the video and giving some, I think this is where I stopped to give the facts of the tunnel that I laid out a little bit earlier. And told some of the stories and whatnot. And yeah, it's, again, I've said this a few times, but really, really unfortunate that the videos got ruined. Again, hopefully someday I can get back there for an actual good video where, the audio, nothing gets messed up. But anyways, if you watched through this portion of it, thank you for sticking with me. I appreciate your viewership, and I will see you next time.